That feeling you get when you finish reading a book series that took you 7 months, and then all you want to do is go back and read it again. So I just got done rereading the Harry Potter series for the first time in probably 12 years. Started back in December and then slowly made my way through book 7 this past week. And so now I'm going to go back and talk about all of them a little bit and rank all 7 books from my least favorite to my most favorite. So let's go ahead and get started. Starting up with number 7 on the list is Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. For some reason, I found this book to be one of the most boring of the series. For most of the entirety of the story, it was very boring and very oddly relaxed for the penultimate book, coming right before the epic finale, dealing a lot with Voldemort's backstory and then a lot of stuff with love potions and adolescent romances and things like that. It wasn't until probably the 75% mark where things started to pick up, and after that it did become a really engrossing story. But for the first 3/4, it's probably my least favorite. Number 6, I would put The Chamber of Secrets. I did like this one quite a bit as a kid, as well as the movie, but upon rereading it, it was very boring, very dull, and like a lot of people have mentioned before, it's kind of a retread of the first book. So while I did enjoy the mystery aspect of the Chamber of Secrets and getting more into Voldemort for kind of the first time, really, it's really pretty unremarkable in its own right. And then going off of that, we have number 5, which I have as the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone, whichever one you want to call it. This is a very interesting book in its own right, as it is the first in the series, so you get to discover the entire universe. Well, not really, but kind of the basics of the universe. Get introduced to most of the main characters, and it takes on to a very nice adolescent journey. It's kind of a light book. It does deal on some heavier subjects a very little bit, but overall it is very light compared to the rest of the series. And though I do have a lot of fondness for it, it is one of the weaker entries, I believe. So now we are number 4, which I have as Order of the Phoenix. So I did not love this book. I felt like it was a bit too long. Felt like it repeated a lot of things over and over without really moving the plot forward enough. I felt like some of the things that were crammed in there were not all that necessary. Maybe they did pay things off later in the series, but it wasn't important enough, I believe, to warrant so much time here. I want to say screen time, but it's not a screen, so page time, I don't know. But it does have some interesting aspects to it. I do like Umbridge as a villain. I do like the aspect of the Ministry being kind of inept, while also being overbearing as they fare in easy education at Hogwarts. And so that kind of stuff is really good. I know a lot of stuff here I do really like. It's just that it seemed to drag out a little bit too much. So that's why I have it at number 4, which is the middle of the pack. Going to the upper echelon now, number 3, I have the Goblet of Fire. Now I remember reading the Goblet of Fire for the first time in middle school, and I know that I read a whole lot of the book in one sitting, finishing it all in one night. So that was a pretty fond memory for me. And I do really enjoy this book as well. It takes a turn toward the dark, especially towards the end. But overall, it's a kind of a transitional book between the lighter first 3 and then the heavier ones that come afterwards. And the whole entire scene in the graveyard near the end is great as well. So then we move on to number 2, which I have as the Prisoner of Azkaban. Another really solid entry, maybe the best overall plot from beginning to end of the series. It introduces a lot of great new characters, such as Sirius, and Peter Pettigrew, and really gets more into the background of the Marauders. It's also kind of a book where the characters start growing up a little bit, from young kids to teenagers. It's a really well done book, and it has a great ending. If it weren't for number 1, I would say this would be my favorite, but obviously there is one more. Book number 7, The Deathly Hallows, which is just a wild ride, to be honest. It's got a whole multitude of plots and stories going on in one big book. Very fast-paced, lots of great character moments, lots of revisiting pivotal places and settings in the universe as they march towards the end. It's just, it's just a big wild ride. And sure, not everything is done perfectly here. I think the overall ending could have been fleshed out a little bit more, and there are some other choices in there that I have a hard time with, but overall it's a very good book, and I have it as number 1 for a reason. So there we go. That is my ranking of the 7 Harry Potter books, because no other books exist in the series or this universe, and nobody can convince me otherwise. So that is the series as a whole. I might as well just rank the movies here while I'm at it. These are as of last year, the last time I watched them all in succession. So I think starting at number 7, I would put Half-Blood Prince. I do enjoy this movie. It's got some of the best humor and some of the best dialogue in the series, and some of the pivotal scenes are done very well, almost perfectly. But it follows a lot of the same problems as the book. It's just kind of a lot of nonsense when they could be spending time doing other things. As well, the movie just looks really gray and boring. Then at number 6, I'd put probably Chamber of Secrets. It's a lot like the book. It's just kind of a retread of the first one. Then number 5, again, the Sorcerer's Stone. Not a lot else to say here that I haven't said already. So we got the top 4, and these are going to be different. Where are we? So, number 8 would be Half-Blood Prince. 7, Chamber. 6 would be Sorcerer's Stone. 5 would be Prisoner of Azkaban. I think this one's a little bit overrated. I do appreciate the more artistic feel to it, but I feel like it was done a little bit too much, and some of the scenes were played off a little too cheesy. So that's the bottom 4. The top 4, Deathly Hallows Part 1 at number 4. Just because the whole latter half is really boring and very long. Other than that, I really liked it though. I had number 3 as, I think, Goblet of Fire. I really did like this movie. It's very compelling. Number 2, Deathly Hallows Part 2. Again, very fast-paced movie, and the ending could have been fleshed out more. Then number 1, I have The Order of the Phoenix, which I think is my favorite at this time. It includes just pretty much everything that you love about Harry Potter. Some mystery stuff, a lot of great characters, in the fray. It introduces some new characters, like Luna, which are fantastic. You also get to see the more secondary characters more, such as Ginny and Neville. And overall, it's just a really good movie. So I have that as my number 1. So that is my ranking of the Harry Potter books and the Harry Potter movies. And that's all I have. So thank you for watching. And